Welcome to another episode of the Embodying Excellence podcast. We're your hosts, Carlo and Brenden. How's it going, Brenden?
Going really well, thank you. What about yourself?
I'm well, thank you. Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, 2026.
New Year, new you. That's what they all say anyway. But we both know that if you're on the path, you're not going to start again. So you're going to continue what you're doing. However, if you found yourself that you're sort of off the track, it's probably time you got on. And if you're watching this, you're on the path. So, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about crafting your ideal self.
This is a really good time to discuss this topic, eh? It's one of those recreation times where we transform and we go about our year creating what we want to see for ourselves and then doing what we want to see for ourselves as well, because I know for a long time I spent a lot of time in the ideation phase of things. I was always building things in my mind. I was always, this is going to look like this is going to look like that, but nothing ever really happened because I didn't execute. And what happened was I separated my actual self from my ideal self, and I used my ideal self as a measuring stick to go, hey, this is the direction that I'm taking without actually taking any action. And so it excused me from actually getting toward that ideal self. So then if I failed, then I could justify laziness instead of either mediocrity or fear. And so I've found working with different people that has been quite a similar resonance where individuals are going, well, I see all this stuff on social media and everyone's here and I'm just here and what if I can't do it or anything else? And so to sum it all up, you can do it, and at the same time there's a process, and by following said process you enable yourself to do the little daily things so that then you can reach this ideal self. And so let's go into more detail.
It's all about them day-to-day actions, but first you have to know where you're going. So it's like, for example, hopping in the car and just starting to drive. You're gonna go where you're gonna go. Like you need to know where you need to go, or else it's pointless.
Correct.
Wasting fuel's not cheap.
Unless you're going for a whimsy cruise or anything like that, which don't get me wrong, is always fun. But I think we're getting a little off track here. So with creating your ideal self, the first thing you need to do, which I've found I missed, there was a period of time that you missed, but then a lot of people do miss as well, is that you need to be vulnerable with yourself. And you need to either look in the mirror or look at somebody you trust and go, hey, I'm not up to standard. And this is why. And not point out excuses that she said this or he said that or the world's like this or anything else. It's because I decided that this is what I was going to do in that moment because it felt comfortable, it felt easy. I didn't want to do the work. Whatever the story is, it belongs to you. You need to own it so that then when you own it, you can then own your actions that then succeed this admission of vulnerability. And so the thing too is that you don't need to be your ideal self to be vulnerable. Like, so if, let's say you're in high school and you're insecure and then you leave high school and you don't see anybody for 5 years, right? But then you bump into someone and they ask you, so what are you up to? If in your mind you're going, oh, well, I haven't done enough, and well, if I tell them what I'm up to, what if they think that, oh, I'm not worthy or I'm not this or I'm not that, right? And so you might not say anything. Well, you're human. And so by actually going, hey, you know what? It's been up and down and this is where I've been, this is what's been happening and everything else, and you're able to just express all the things that have happened throughout the course of your life, I'm very certain that a lot of the time they're going to be very understanding because I'm certain they have their own tribulations and trials and things that happen in their lives that they probably didn't see coming either. And so when you learn to go, well, hey, I don't really need to be all up here yet, so that then I can express some vulnerability, I can express some feelings of doubt or guilt or even ambition, then you enable yourself to go, hey, look, you know what? I'm doing this day by day. I'm doing this step by step. Then once you bring yourself back to reality, because that's what it is essentially, because if you're constantly in your ideal self, you're thinking either in the future or you're thinking something imaginary that isn't really right in front of you. And so by actually being present and being here in front of you, you get to go, oh, hey, okay, these are the current actions that I'm taking. These are the current results that I'm getting. Am I happy with these? No. Would the person that I'd like to be doing this? No. Okay, cool. Change the action. So that then when you're present with the action, you then enable yourself to then change course. Then when you change course, the results start to change. And so by admitting vulnerability, by going, hey, I'm too much in the ideal and not enough in the real, then you go, all right, well now since I'm in the real, this is what my ideal looks like. How am I going to get there using the real life steps? And then you build into it. It's like a training program.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was sort of touching on. So if you know where you're going, you can then put the steps in place. You can sort of narrow it or reverse engineer the steps to what you need to do on a day by day basis, because at the end of the day, it's all the game is winning day by day. It's not about getting, because what happens if you just have like a set goal, so say in a year's time, 2 years time, 5 years time, and you just have that goal only, and if you don't have wins along the way, and for whatever reason, if you don't reach that goal, you're going to be disheartened to the shit house, and you're going to think along the way, why am I doing this for? Especially if it's a goal, a pretty big goal. Yeah. You're going to be disheartened for it, and your ideal self at that point is going to be different to what you in reality are today.
Absolutely, and it feels further, because the thing is, when you don't bridge the gap with actionable actions that help you develop little wins so that then you can then close the gap on your ideal self, your ideal self seems further away, and that's what's disheartening the most, because you have all this potential and at the same time you think that you're doing the things that you need to be doing when you know in your heart of hearts that you're actually not doing it, but you're unwilling to admit it. And then you're disheartened because it's too hard. It's not too hard. You haven't put the work in firstly, and then also at the same time you haven't set reasonable standards or commitments in order for you to actually then be able to execute on a day-by-day basis. Because you've set these long-winded goals that are absolutely huge, but you haven't put everything together to make it happen. It's like you want to build this dream house, but you haven't put a blueprint together on how that's going to happen. Where the dining room's going to go, where the bathrooms are going to go, where the bedrooms are going to go, where the lounge room's going to go. Like, if you don't know where those things are going to go, this house is not going to be built. So in your life, if you don't know how much it's going to cost you to build this life of yours, whether it's financially, whether it's energy, whether it's time, whether it's relationships, if you don't know the cost, then it's going to be much harder, because you're playing in the dark. Where if you actually note this down and you put how much things are going to cost, the time investment, the energy investment, the relationship investments, every single investment you can possibly think of, and then weigh up what that's going to look like in conjunction with your ideal self, you then have a blueprint on that step-by-step process on what that's going to look like, what that's going to eventuate. And like you said, that might change throughout the course of time as well, because who you were 5 years ago might not be the person that you're becoming anymore. And so I know for myself, I knew that PT was the way forward. Like, I was just obsessed with PT. But also when I was doing PT and I was actually in it, I hated it. And at the same time, I hated it because I knew the steps that I needed to do, but I didn't have the courage to step up and go, hey, look, this is what's expected of me. I need to do this. I was just doing everything that I could to survive. And so it wasn't like I hated the coaching and anything else. It was more so I wasn't appreciating the process enough. And then when things got hard, I would either drop off. Like, the dream was always there, and I always had the mentality of do something every single day, but it wasn't enough. And I know for a fact it wasn't enough, and my standards weren't high enough. And so what I did was, instead of doing the day-to-day steps and separating my ideal self from my actual self, I just set bigger goals. And so I was going, you know what? I'm getting this dopamine hit of setting these huge goals and then telling everybody about it. And it made me feel good, and it was like my subconscious was rewarding me before I even did anything.
Yeah.
And so I know that that's a problem, because what happens is then if you feel rewarded and you feel justified, you're not going to do it anyway.
Yeah, it takes away the action step.
And it takes away the action step.
It's just procrastinating, like just putting off the work that needs to be done.
Absolutely. I've been there. And I say all of the things that I've just said, speaking from personal experience, because now chartering my way in the other direction, I can see the significant difference in actually taking action and doing it consistently on a long period of time, that the results actually come about. And so even just recently, I just committed myself to posting more on social media for my businesses, and the businesses have started to get eyeballs. And so by getting initial eyeballs, then I can then use that as a way to then post more, because it's giving me that confidence boost, it's giving me that dopamine hit. And so instead of going, this is what I'm doing, XYZ, I'm actually reaching out to people, I'm posting the content, I'm getting back to people that have reached out, all these different things that are actionable for the growth of my businesses. Then I'm going, right, okay, so I'm not just yapping, I'm going ahead and I'm going and doing it. And so being able to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be is firstly accepting that who you're going to become isn't who you are now. And so you need to be able to let go of who you are now so that you can eventually become who you're becoming. And so if you're comfortable with who you are now, then you're going to have a difficult time transitioning into who you're becoming, because what will end up happening is then you'll end up doing nothing, and then years would have gone past and you would have realized that a lot of good things didn't happen because you didn't take that step. And so by knowing that you're about to build, you need to realize that you need to be willing to let go. And so by lowering expectation and not standards, not ambitions or anything like that, but expectancy of when it's going to happen, you allow yourself a longer time horizon so that then the goals that you're aiming to reach are attainable by the daily action steps that you're taking. Because if you give yourself a year to make $1 million, you're going to have to take radical action, and radical action to the degree where your obsessive focus is going to be making that $1 million. Whereas if it's 5 years, then you've got different actionable steps that you take every single day. You've got relationships that you build, you've got systems that you build, you've got different things that allow you to build an ecosystem for you to reach that $1 million goal in 5 years. It enables you to actually understand the process that you're going through and appreciate the process that you're going through. Whereas if you're doing it in a year, it's going to be that much harder and that much more excessive on your nervous system. And so a lot of what I found is that building this ideal self and realizing the actual self comes down to emotional regulation and nervous system regulation that helps you identify where blind spots are, so that then when you are resistant to taking action, you're asking yourself, okay, what's my nervous system feeling about this? And when you regulate and you breathe and you figure what that is, then you can learn to move through it so that then that's not deterring you from taking further action. And so knowing all of these different things will allow for you to build and continue building. And so it is a process. And what I've realized at the end of last year as well is that I wasn't enjoying the process and I wasn't appreciating the process. I was actually resisting the process. And so when I was resisting the process, well, everything else was resisting me as well. And so now learning to open up to it more, it's helped me build and helped me guide in the right direction. And so I know I've been yapping and you may have gotten a lot out of it, but at the same time, separating your ideal self and your actual self is the first step. And going, okay, I need to take accountability for where I currently am, and I need to note down, create a blueprint of where I'd like to be. Then you step it up and go, okay, these are the daily action steps that I need to take in order for me to achieve this said ideal self. Find mentors, trusted friends, family, whoever it is in your circle that will help you and support you in your endeavors, and then continue doing that daily, and then rinse and repeat. And so that's literally the process of separating that ideal self to getting your actual self in order, so that then come the end of 2026, you're not going, oh man, 2027 is going to be my year, because you fucking crushed 2026.
Yeah, that's right. It's about, like you said then, daily things. But when you brought up earlier about that feeling of not wanting to do something and just procrastinating and basically building up anxiety, then that should be a sign for you to take action. Because as humans, we're designed to actually do things on a day-to-day basis and not just be stuck to a screen and like, when you think about it, you've got a phone, right, that you're looking at. It's just an inanimate object. It's just a piece of plastic you're looking at, right? And then you add to it the fact that there's stuff on there that is actually brain rot.
Yeah.
It's just taking away from your self-worth, because you're seeing other people post their highlights all the time. And sometimes what's posted on there is what you see as though is your ideal self on there. So when you see your ideal self on there and you know that you're putting in your actions, right, and you're not getting where you want to go in good time, it's very disheartening.
Absolutely.
But then you got to realise at the same time, these are all highlight reels on there as well, and they don't sort of explain how they've got there, the work that they've put in to get there, or the stuff coming out, the stuff behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Exactly what's happening.
Well, at the same time, fun fact I wanted to bring up is when you were talking about the anxiety to take action, the neurotransmitters in your brain that are developed through anxiety are also developed through excitement. So you can think of anxiety as excitement. So if you're anxious to start something, you can just reverse that and just go, I'm actually excited to start this. And you'll be more inclined to actually start what you're anxious about. But if you're constantly thinking about the anxiety, then of course you're not going to start. But by being excited every single day, you enable yourself to go, yes, okay, I'm ready to go. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to survive, I'm going to be loved, things are going to be okay. When you talk to yourself in that manner on a consistent basis, that's where the action becomes actionable. I remember when we first started this podcast, we had an idea of starting this podcast probably about a year before we actually started the podcast. And so we just kept putting it off, right? And so, because we didn't know how things were going to turn out. And then eventually we used this same approach and we went, hey, look, you know what? This is actually exciting. We're on. This is live. This is our first episode. And so then we just kept doing more episodes. We become accustomed to doing the episodes now. And so now we're refining our episodes and talking about various topics that are similar in nature to embodying excellence. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we provide the most value. And so But to be able to do that, we need to be able to refine and continue elevating this podcast and elevating your experience.
Yeah.
And that means changing. And change is something to be excited about, but also at the same time, people are anxious about. And so it's natural. And so being able to not only let that feeling go through us and move with us, then by not allowing it to dictate our actions, then enables us to do the thing that we need to do. And so then when I want to bring up this next piece as well, is that by working on yourself and working on the core of your being, whatever that is, by regulating and helping yourself understand and come back to who you truly are, whatever you see on social media, even though it is a highlight reel, even though people are happy with what's going on and you might not see the bad stuff, at the same time, that doesn't give you, or that doesn't put you in a position where you're less than or you're worse off. Because what's the problem with people posting their highlights and how they're living a good life? We want good for them, right? If we are going to be successful and we understand by hating on either someone else's success or hating on the idea that people are only posting their highlights and being disheartened about it, that means we're only taking away from ourselves. And so when you work on connecting your ideal self with your actual self, and you take the daily steps each day to then become who you say that you're going to become, what others post will almost become irrelevant, because all it'll become is inspiration for you to do more, because they're in the trenches with you. It's not an opposition. It's designed to make it look like that the grass is greener over there, but in reality, the grass is green everywhere, because you're doing the work, someone's having a baby, someone's getting married, someone has the time of their life overseas, all of these different things, they're actually in unison together. And so when you pull back and go, hey, look, even though all of these things are happening around me, this doesn't affect the core of my being. I love me, I have people who love me, and I'm doing the work that I said that I was going to do, then there won't be so much that you put on yourself. You won't have so many impositions and expectations and things like that, because you're not doing it for anybody else. You're doing it for you and your family or your friends, not because you want to please them or impress them or anything else, just because you can. And so by designing whatever this ideal self is and how your actual self is going to get there, that's going to be your focus. And so whatever you see on social media, in your mind you're going, you know what, this doesn't affect the core of my being. They're doing well, that's awesome. You know what, I'm gonna hit like, or I'm gonna make a comment, hey, this is fucking good shit, keep it up. Next thing, right? And you build. And then you continue building that sense of self from the inner work that you do, the regulation, plus spreading the love to other people's things. Dude, eventually your life just becomes great as a result, as default. That's the default state. And so if your default state is, oh, I'm glum, or I'm neutral, or things are just, it is what it is, that's what it'll remain. And so when you build yourself up to be loving, to be conscientious, to be kind, to be courteous, to be caring, to be joyful, that's what life becomes. And so I said it in a previous episode that the world is a reflection of your perspective and your experience. And so by enhancing your experience, by peeling layers back, but then also putting new things in, like old inputs out, and then new inputs in by the things that you learn, you elevate not only yourself, but everyone else around you. And so that's why I really wanted to dive into this today, because it's a new year. It's a new time to start reflecting on these little things, because it's those little things, those little details, those little 1% that you put in each day, as you know, that transform into the big picture later on. The ruck's the same. Like when we did the ruck on the weekend just passed, right? I haven't stopped since. Like I was like, fuck, you know what? I'm going to do this, right? Because this is part of my commitment to being better. And so thank you for the inspiration, because you've done it for 826 or 5 days or something like that. Yeah. But then I thought to myself, you know what? We did it together and I want to keep this up. And so I'm going to keep this up. And so that has been my commitment. And I just wanted to provide an example of what that actually looks like. And so you can do it. I'm telling you today, I want you to receive this. I want you to hear it. You can do it. It can be done. Sit with it. Sit with it. Allow yourself to feel it. Whatever your body's feeling, you feel it right now. It can be done. I want to make sure that you know that. And so by following the steps that we discussed, and also taking into perspective what your own experience looks like, so that then you can make the move that you know intuitively that you need to do, day by day, you will do the things that you need to do. So then by the end of 2026, you're a lot closer to your ambition and your goals, because you executed, and you won't be saying on New Year's Eve in 2027, oh, new year, new me. You'll be saying, hey, I'm continuing what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's right. And I just want to touch on the importance of being humble in that process as well. Like, you've got to be humble in that process, basically acknowledging that it's your actions that are moving you forward, not the fact that it's you per se. It's your actions are doing that. That means everyone can follow in your footsteps, anyone can follow my footsteps. It's doable as long as you identify yourself as a certain person and work towards that every day, putting the steps in place to work towards that, you can achieve it. And then when you get to the stage of actually having to execute, you can be confident in yourself because you've done the work.
Absolutely. And just to add a final touch to the humility is your actions, like you were saying. And it's your actions and at the benefit of others, not at their expense. And so if you're that person that's taking action, but you're putting shit on other people, that's not being humble. That's being an idiot, right? Yeah. Where if you are humble, you're going, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing, and people are celebrating my success. And you know what? My success is worth celebrating. Also, at the same time, it came as a result of my action.
Yeah, exactly.
It came as a result of me doing the work, and it also came as a result of the help and trust of other people and the support system that I had, because they enabled me to be able to do the work that I'm doing. They trusted in me that I was going to take the actions that I needed to take. I took them, and I can't be thankful enough for them, because it then allowed for me to help them expand. It helped me expand. It helped me grow. And so for this year, commit yourself to one thing, because there's so many times where you have all these different things that you write down. I want to learn a new language. I want to travel to 5 different countries. I want to see this. I want to do this. I want to do that. Stick to one thing that you can do every single day without fail. If that means taking a walk, if that means going to the gym and doing a workout, if that means saying I love you to a loved one, whatever it is, do one thing for all 365 days, because I know that a lot of you will not do one thing for all 365 days. That's a challenge. I'm challenging you now, right? But at the same time, have a look. Do one good thing that you know that's going to make improvements in your life for all 365 days this year. Is it 366 or 365? I don't know.
65.
65, okay. Yeah, so all 365 days. Yeah. Do it. Absolutely do it. Peel back the layers and go, hey, this is where I actually am. Here's where I want to be. And then stick to one thing every single day. When you feel comfortable with one thing, start adding another one. But also at the same time, before you add another one, look at something you can take away and take that away before you start adding more. Because you can't keep just adding and adding without taking away, because you can't hold on to everything. Nobody can. And so by adding things that are going to improve your well-being and incline you to become better and better, you'll start choosing to take things away that don't. And so a younger audience member, I want you to embrace this. I want you to feel it, but I also want you to fully grasp and understand it. As an older viewer, who I'm sure you get it, what we're saying now, I want you to fully grasp and go, all right, this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the tension in my body. I'm letting this go, and really start to move into it. If you're somebody that's already doing this and you're getting more information from us and you're sharing the love, we thank you. And we hope that this year is a massive success for you as well. And so this is for everybody. I want to point out, this is not just for people that are already doing it or people who feel like that they should be on track. This is for everyone. And so when you take that first step, the path becomes clear. But if you don't get off the fence at all, then nothing happens.
Yeah, just take the time to plan out where you want to go as well. Just touch on that, because you spend more, some people spend more time planning out a holiday, which is 1 week of your life, for 2 weeks, how they'll be planning it out, rather than planning out where the direction they want to go.
Yeah. Do it. Take the time.
Yeah.
Take the time today. Because now we're heading into the year again. Like, the holidays are essentially over, just depending on what you do for work. But take that time this evening to really just chart out what your month looks like, your quarter looks like, your 6 month looks like, your full 12 months look like. And just evaluate the actions that you're doing each and every single day. Because the thing is, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. That's bottom line. And so if you can't spend 10 minutes just making this evaluation, then you might be in for a rough time. But by committing yourself to this 10 minutes initially, then you go, hey, you know what? If I've got 10 minutes for this, what else have I got 10 minutes for? And then you start making different choices. And when you start making different choices, you get different results.
Yeah, 100%. And sort of time is something that sort of we think we don't have much of, but you'd be surprised how much time that we waste doing sort of stuff that we don't necessarily need to be doing. And for me, what gave me the realisation was doing programs like 75 Hard. That really sort of forced me to let go of the stuff that was wasting my time, and then sort of it actually creates more time, believe it or not, by executing when you need to, and then frees up that extra time so you can spend in other areas you got to grow.
That's right. You're not just making money to be free, you're making money to buy your time back. And a lot of the time we spend time trying to make all this money so that then we can pay back perhaps some irresponsible things that we paid for. But then when we finally do, then we have all this time but no energy. Where if you spent the energy early on crafting what your ideal self looks like and how your ideal self operates, then not only will you be making money to pay back some irresponsible payments, but also at the same time, you'll be spending money to then invest in creating this idealized version of yourself so that then you can buy all of your time back a lot faster, rather than wait till either you retire or wait till the end of your life to go, you know what, I should have spent my time better. Because money comes back, but time doesn't. And so knowing that by doing what we discussed today, you can actually buy a lot more of your time back long term, you will then go, well, hey, you know what, I can really, really map this out because I've got the time to do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've pretty much covered most of...
I know, it's a big episode.
Yeah.
It's a big episode. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Embodying Excellence podcast. We are very grateful for you to have viewed our episode, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Yeah, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Please like, share and subscribe, and have a great day.
See you on the next episode.